Hey, this is Adam Torres, and I'm here to tell you that it has never been easier to start your very own podcast. At Mission Matters, our goal is to amplify stories that matter. That means we want to help you start your podcast because your story matters. We can do this in 3 different ways. 1, join our podcast school and take a free or paid course. 2, visit our resources page where we've already figured out what you need, such as where to host your podcast. Or 3, heck, we can even do everything for you through our podcast agency, including editing for cheaper than you can do in-house. Oh, and no contract, service is month to month. Get started by heading over to missionmatters.com and click on Start a Podcast. All right, now let's get into the show. Hey, I'd like to welcome you to the episode of the Mission Matters Business Podcast, your source for all things business. My name is Adam Torres. You can follow me on Instagram at AskAdamTorres to keep up with my book releases, book tour schedule, signings, all that other good stuff. Always love to connect with you there. And as always, if you'd like to apply to become a co-author of one of my upcoming books, just head on over to the website, missionmatters.com, and click on Become an Author to apply. All right, so I have Anderson Bryant on the line. He's Director of Operations and Business Development over at Red Mesa Science and Refining. Anderson, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks a lot, Adam.
So excited to get today's topic. We're going to talk about current trends in hemp and CBD. But before we do that, let's go a little bit further into what you're doing over at Red Mesa Science and Refining. Tell us a little bit more about the company.
Sure, yeah. So we're a vertically integrated producer of bulk CBD raw materials. So we produce the full spectrum distillate, isolate, broad spectrum distillate that goes into the CBD consumer products that people buy in stores. So traditionally, it's been a very fragmented industry, just like just like cannabis. I don't really like to say marijuana, but it's all cannabis. But THC content cannabis, it was illegal till just recently, till December of 2018, the Farm Bill. So it's been coming out of a gray market and a black market even before that. So now it's really starting to get the professionalism, the attention that it really deserves. So, I mean, for example, just like, an example of, the gray market negatively affecting how, quality and standards is the vitamin E acetate vape issue from last year, and so that's just one thing of, poor quality management, unregulated producers, all that. So we can't come in and we're only about a year and a half old right now. Since the Farm Bill, the 2018 Farm Bill was created, and we try to bring professional manufacturing and business practices to the industry. So we are fully vertically integrated. We have a genetics and seed company, which we partnered with UC Berkeley on. That's out of Sonoma, California. And then everything else so far is in Utah. We have a 5,000-acre farm in Green River, Utah, where we did 300 acres of hemp last year, doing 700 acres this year. We actually accounted for 43% of all the hemp that made it out of the field in Utah last year. So we have no problem producing the biomass, the hemp that goes into our products. So we have a single source for all of our products, which is huge. Most people are contracting from many farms throughout the nation, really. And then finally, we have a 50,000 square foot extraction and refinement facility in St. George, Utah. Which if people always have this idea, it's not up by Salt Lake, everything. We're actually only about an hour and a half northeast of Vegas. We're in the very southwest corner of Utah, about 30 minutes from Zion. And so it's actually only about a 5.5, 6 hour drive to LA, which is, so it's not, it's just, I just like to say that because people get a whole different idea of where we are, But so we have a 50,000 square foot extraction and refinement facility where, and it's full GMP ISO. We contracted a consulting company who does pharmaceutical consulting. And so we're implementing a quality management system and a production system that is kind of unmatched in this industry. There's a few people that are doing GMP standards, a few more people that are ISO registering the facility, but really to get that full quality management system, all that tracking, validation, all the way through from not just what we're creating in that facility, but then also back to the biomass, the hemp that's grown on our farm, and then all the way back to the genetics that are developed at our genetics company in Sonoma. So we have full tracking throughout our supply chain, and that's really our business. That's what we're trying to bring to this industry.
That's awesome, and I think it's also interesting for in terms of today's topic. So, what's going on in the hemp and CBD market? Because you have a unique vantage point. I mean, the amount of, for example, the amount of hemp that made it out of the farm, as you said, or out of the field, I should say, in Utah was vastly from your company. That being said, so where do you want to start this topic? Like, what are you seeing in the market right now?
Right now, the industry's really started. I mean, different industries have started to bounce back from COVID. Our industry has really started to bounce back. It took a little bit because, like you said, we're a recently legalized industry, so we're already kind of in an unprecedented situation on top of then this same unprecedented situation everyone else was in. But you've seen a clear increase in cannabis sales, whether that's THC or CBD. People are, it's during quarantine, but also especially CBD for, anxiety, other things. People are interested. And so there's been a bounce back in that. And then the other thing is a lot of people are really waiting for that FDA stance. And when I say people, I mean major companies. I've talked to a lot of companies from, that make beverages to oils to, especially consumables, beverages and food and everything. Major CPG companies that are just waiting on that FDA stance. Thinking maybe it'll come in Q1, but actually I've been talking to people. It looks like it might just be more enforcement. It's going to be pushed a little bit, a little more down the line. But that's going to be huge. That's going to open the floodgates in this industry. And really, because right now there's plenty of CBD brands and everything that are doing what they're doing and creating products. And they're doing wonderful jobs. And so that's what they're trying to create is, distribution and a market share, so that then once that FDA ruling comes in and this whole wave of outside industry starts to get in, you want to have an advantageous position because it's going to be very competitive. So a lot of people are really ramping up for that. A lot of people see a future in CBD once it's really regulated by the FDA and there's an official stance, and that's kind of what everyone's waiting on right now.
Yeah, it seems like as soon as that happens, you could see like the major, like the huge companies that everybody knows, right? Like they could be launching products pretty quick, which is, in my opinion, positioning you and your company in a great way because they're going to want the highest quality, highest, in terms of standards, in terms of products, all the other things. And by going the extra mile, the way your company's done, it seems like you would be an obvious supplier for large companies like going forward.
Yeah, that's what we're trying to position ourselves as, and really everybody really should be at this time, just because that is the future. And if you're not looking at scaling and being able to take large capacity, you're not going to be able to hang, really.
So what do you think that's interesting in the industry right now? So we know the FDA thing, but what do you just see kind of day to day that like what excites you? Because I know you live and breathe this stuff since you're with the company.
Yeah, definitely. Just the advancement of extraction, not just capacity and throughput, but just really outside industries now. Equipment companies, chemical companies, chemists. People that are really starting to develop everything from the cannabis science to the machine science, production science, and bringing that all in. It's just a wave of innovation, and you're seeing it. Things are just changing so rapidly. You have new products using things like large chromatography to take all of the THC out of a product, making broad spectrum. Something new that's come out is compliant full spectrum, where you're able to take the THC down to below 0.3% the legal way, but not by diluting it with a carrier like MCT oil or propylene glycol. You are taking that THC out through chromatography, which is a very advanced process that not everybody has the knowledge or capabilities to use. But when they are using it now, that people are starting to use that, it's really starting to change the industry. So things like that. A big thing that's going around right now, everybody, for the past couple of months is huge, is D8 THC, Delta 8 THC. So the THC that we all know that gets you high, and that's Delta 9 THC, and that's what's illegal. Delta 8 THC has only more recently started to be, I mean, it was kind of known, but figuring out how to get it extracted, how to use it in mass, has started to become a thing, and it's a different type of high, and a lot of people are saying it's smoother or whatever, kind of more mellow, but it's not restricted at all by law. So because it was just kind of a newer thing. So in the past couple months, everybody's making D8, everybody's making Delta 8. And for a time being until, I mean, I just heard recently that the South African government was protesting the U.S. because people are shipping, because D8's legal in the U.S., but I guess in other countries, they're like, hey, this is the same thing, basically. So Americans are shipping it, and it's not illegal to ship it over to South Africa. South Africa's like, you're sending an illegal substance to us. So I feel like something's got to give. The government's going to make a stand on this. In the meantime, people are just, now they figure out how to, the big thing is people are converting D8 from CBD, so you're taking full spectrum distillate or isolate and then converting that into the Delta 8, and that's why since it's unregulated, it's just huge, and it's still going for really high prices. So yeah, that's something that's really hot right now. I don't think that's going to stay around forever, but it's just something interesting that, it's just the way that innovation is entering the industry, and then also just, people, figuring out a way to, make money. It's interesting. So,
yeah, for sure. I love the update, and it's interesting to me because how quick this has all moved. So under 2 years now, I think you said. So how quick this has all moved, and to see where it goes forward. And you're right, it being like a matter of the future, and it's here, not changing, and different ways to figure out how to use it, how to remain compliant, how to how to capitalize on the opportunity. I mean, it's just all exciting. I love it. So Anderson, that being said, if somebody's listening to this and they want to learn more about Red Mesa Science and Refining, or to connect with you and follow up about your work, I mean, what's the best way for them to do that?
Yeah, definitely. So you can go for Red Mesa, you can go to redmesascience.com, and you can check out our website, and also our sister companies and our parent company. It's all network. That's our vertical integration. So our genetics and seed company, our propagation company, our farm, our extraction, all of that. So you can check that out, and then you can also go to our Instagram at Red Mesa Science, or not .com, sorry, at Red Mesa Science, and check that out. We're also on LinkedIn. If you want to check me out, you can find me on LinkedIn. It's linkedin.com/in/Anderson Bryant. Anderson is my first name. Everyone always gets confused by that, but yeah, so linkedin.com/in/Anderson Bryant.
Fantastic. Well, Anderson, really appreciate you coming on the show today and sharing more about your background and all the great work you're doing over at Red Mesa Science and Refining. And to the audience, as always, thank you for tuning in. Hope you got a lot of value out of this. If you did, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast, leave a review in the Apple iTunes store. And if you're watching this on our YouTube channel, Mission Matters Business, definitely give us a subscribe there, but also leave us some comments in the video. Love to know what kind of projects and things that you're working on. And Anderson, thanks again for coming on the show.
Hey, thanks a lot, Adam. It was great. Appreciate it.